Is it vodka?
No, I was laughing at her. First thing she's gonna do is get the
This first poem actually takes place here in Marlinton, West Virginia.
Megan, I cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna go.
And I do want to hear it.
Hello. How about now?
Better.
Better? Okay.
Yes.
So this next poem takes place in Marlinton, West Virginia, which is right here. And it was in response to a job ad that I saw. I was looking at job ads online, and some guy was trying to commission somebody to write a narrative about an adventure in air or space. And I was like, I could do that. So I wrote a poem, and I didn't submit it, but I wrote the poem anyway. So it's called Narrative of an Adventure in Air or Space. The way the camera caught me in mid-jump made me look Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The way the camera caught me in mid-jump made me look fixed in a Neptune blue sky, the tips of my sneakers almost touching the grass. Years later, I would relate to elementary school kids over our willingness to pretend to be airplanes. I admired the way they ran for the sake of motion, to breathe in joy more deeply as the heart worked harder. Outside of the Marlinton Library, West Virginia kept happening without us. A journalist wrote an article about stocking the Greenbrier River with trout, and a man walked from his apartment to the library to return a book, taking the long way to enjoy the sun and see if the girl he met last month is sitting on her porch. He wondered if all kids dream of being astronauts, floating through the vast expanse where stars are born and distance is measured by how quickly light travels. Years later, his daughter will come home from work and walk to the creek behind the house, her arms outstretched so she feels like a bird, aware of the bright moments when she's lifted off the ground. This is in response to a newspaper article that I read recently, and it's called The Days Just Keep Happening. At the age of 95, Floyd Creaky Creekmore of Billings, Montana is named the oldest clown. A former rancher, he must listen to the rain that he knew was coming long before the sky became a penciled sketch. Something about the grass blades pointing west, a juggling act of excited particles, dandelion seeds drifting past the open kitchen window, his wife Betty asleep in her chair. Everything is a place. During the lifespan of a sneeze, a kid 4 blocks away begins her descent into a puddle, the sky and nearby buildings admiring themselves as the reflection of her shoes gets closer and closer. 5 doorbells ring in that neighborhood. A woman looks at herself in a shirt she hadn't worn in 12 years, staring in disbelief as the early afternoon sun assures her that she really has lost all that weight. 26 cats observe the city from their respective apartment windows, all of which are screened but open. A boy who is afraid of heights stands up on the pedals of his faded yellow bicycle, and a man who recently lost his job is startled as the boy glides past. He had been so caught up with the thought that there are over 10,000 species of birds, and that at any given moment, millions of them will communicate one note, which is perhaps one thought, which is perhaps the bird equivalent for hello. This is called A Guide to Understanding the Universe. Everything is made of atoms, which are made of electric clouds, which can also be found in the sky during thunderstorms, which are known for their beauty, which is everything, when combined with happiness, which, based on a previous statement, is made of atoms, which are so tiny we can only see them with certain microscopes, which reminds me of a field of strawberries in late April, countless bright red buttons, which we took our time picking as the rain fell brilliantly. And this is the last one. It's called 400 Billion Suns. When Carl Sagan says there are 400 billion suns in our galaxy, it's hard not to pick up the phone and call my grandmother to thank her again for the letters she's been writing in the voice of my cat. If I decided to walk from my house to hers, it would take me more than a week. I would bring an umbrella in the event that it rained and I had to sleep standing up. After that, I would want to know what she thinks of horses, whether or not her family had any while she was growing up in Ireland. I imagine she draped a shawl around her head and tied it at her chin before walking to school, and when she traveled to Ellis Island years later, she held her purse firmly, her demeanor solid and graceful as the universe. I would tell her this when I arrived at her door, trying my best to explain how small and infinite we are, the light of 400 billion suns echoing off the strands of our hair. Thanks.